Amanda got a job in the office of a trading company about a month ago. The young, pretty, and taciturn woman immediately pleased the human resources manager. Young and energetic cleaners were always in high demand, since such women rarely went for such work, and youth and strength were valued in this field. The young woman had no work experience, but Amanda immediately let it be known that she was very interested in the job. She behaved openly and nicely, spoke freely and easily, but did not say much about herself. She said only that she was an orphan and that she had to pay rent and utilities. All other questions of the hiring manager the young woman skillfully evaded and only repeated that she really needed the work. Amanda, of course, was hired because any office needed a cleaner, and in this particular company, they did not stay long at all. It was all about the dismissive attitude of the staff and the lack of respect. In addition, the salary was medium, but the cleaning area was huge. On top of that, the founder of the company had recently died, and it was still unclear what the future prospects for the business would be. The company previously had two owners, Mr. Morris and Mr. Gray. In his heart, Mr. Gray always envied his companion, but never showed it openly. They once started out together as ordinary engineers in a factory and were considered friends, and closer to 50 years became owners of a small business and worked shoulder to shoulder. At the same time, it was Mr. Morris who risked and invested all his money in the business, but Mr. Gray essentially invested nothing in the development of the company. And then a month ago, Mr. Morris died in a car accident under terrible circumstances. He was literally trapped in the mangled car, and while rescuers unsuccessfully tried to reach him, the man died. The deceased man had almost no relatives. His wife had died while giving birth a long time ago, and his only daughter was studying in England and had hardly ever come home. Mr. Gray buried his business partner and became the sole owner of the company without even informing Mr. Morris's daughter of her father's death. But strangely enough, the new owner still did not have the necessary competence to manage the company. He acted rudely and ineptly, and there was a real mess in the office. But Mr. Gray turned a blind eye to everything and took no action. And in such a troubled time, the new cleaner, Amanda, came in. A quiet and modest woman was immediately disliked by most of the office. They constantly laughed at her, gossiped, and spitefully looked on. But she, paying no attention to it, continued to calmly and efficiently perform her work. Some of the staff, as if on purpose, tried to create more problems for the new employee, but Amanda silently cleaned up the garbage and dirt under the contemptuous glances of her colleagues. Only one person sympathized with Amanda, Jasper, an eyeglass intern. Once he even treated her to coffee during a break. Amanda was surprised, but thanked Jasper. No one had ever talked to her before, and this man even treated her with a tasty drink. He tried to behave very gallantly with her and let her know that he liked the young woman. In the office, of course, Jasper was judged for such an interest in the cleaner, but the man didn't care. He did not forget to come up every day and wish her a good day or help her in some way. For all that Amanda worked as a cleaner, she was well groomed and quite beautiful. Though no one saw her expensive manicures on her fingers or gorgeous hair and elite cosmetics on her face, all this she skillfully concealed. But sometimes women in the office caught a whiff of expensive perfume in the air when Amanda was coming to work, but they could not unravel the owner of the heady fragrance. Meanwhile, dissatisfaction with the new boss was growing in the office. Delays in the payment of wages, the lack of bonuses, which were generously handed out by the former head, the constant errors in accounting and dismissal of employees without cause, all the more aggravated the situation. On top of that, rumors that the new owner wanted to sell the company were spreading around the office. All of this did not provide any stability for the employees, and people were afraid of losing their jobs. But nothing of such a kind ever happened, and it was Amanda who played an important role in this. A few hours before the important negotiations on the sale of the company's shares, Amanda was cleaning the boss's office and accidentally spilled coffee on the documents. Mr. Gray was furious because the documents that had been prepared over several months were hopelessly ruined, and it was physically impossible to get them back together in one day. Mr. Gray was terribly angry and could not believe that it had happened to him, not because of his competitors, but because of an ordinary cleaner. He began to insult the young woman and seemed ready to even hit her with rage. At that moment, Jasper entered the office without knocking and tried to protect Amanda. Eventually, she and Jasper were fired, but the negotiations did not take place that day. Jasper was very upset that he gave in to his feelings and dared to go to the head to protect Amanda. He didn't expect this from himself because he really needed this job. His mother was taking care of his sister with cerebral palsy, and he was taking care of both of them. Amanda, seeing the man's condition, thanked him for his help and smiled. She squeezed his hand and said that she would solve their problems in a couple of hours. After that, she took out her latest model iPhone from her pocket and called someone. Jasper was shocked. Where did a simple cleaning lady get such an expensive phone? In the meantime, Amanda took off her work robe, and under it there was a silk blouse and a classic skirt. Then she took out of her backpack chick pumps and a small clutch. Jasper watched this transformation in mute amazement. Replacing sneakers for shoes, she completed her image with a ring and diamond earrings, which she took out of her clutch. The woman looked at Jasper, winked mischievously, and laughed. Just at that time, representatives of the financial police entered the office, and Amanda went with them to the head. As it turned out later, the cleaner was the daughter of the deceased Mr. Morris. The young woman heard from acquaintances about her father's death and decided to come home from England incognito. Because her father's death was hidden from her, she suspected that there was something fishy going on and decided to look into it quietly on her own. Lawyers advised the young woman to get a job as a cleaner in her father's company to keep an eye on the new head and understand what was really going on. She also hired private investigators who quickly found out that Mr. Gray was a gambler. He could lose his last money at the casino and therefore often go into debt. Debts were growing, and finally, Mr. Gray had a terrible decision to get rid of his companion to sell the company. With the help of his accomplices, he staged a car crash, and by bribing the right people, he was able to quickly close the case. But now, at the sight of the police and Amanda, Mr. Gray realized that all his dark deeds were solved. At the interrogation, he was given a report of all his machinations with the accounts of the company, and he confessed to everything, including the death. Eventually, he was convicted and given a heavy sentence. Amanda took over her father's company and revitalized it. She fired people who were constantly gossiping over coffee and doing nothing instead of working. In the end, the company had a great team of dedicated people whom she was able to provide with a decent salary and performance bonuses. Soon, Amanda promoted Jasper from intern to senior manager because she saw that he was a capable young man, and in addition, she was very grateful for his support. Besides, Amanda transferred a large sum of money to Jasper's account for his sister's rehabilitation. The man initially refused this help, but Amanda persuaded him because despite their different positions, they remained good friends. After a while, Amanda saw how much Jasper had matured in his new position, began to show leadership qualities, was responsible, and often put forward interesting ideas. And surprisingly enough, finally she saw him as a man, but he did not make any attempts to get closer for fear of causing resentment to his new boss. Tired of waiting, Amanda scheduled a business meeting for him at a restaurant. When he showed up exactly on time, not a minute late, she laughed and told him to relax because they were actually on a date. It took his breath away at those words. He never thought that such a simple man like him could be liked by a woman like Amanda. The date went great, and the young people started dating. Soon, everybody in the office knew that their boss, a wealthy woman, was dating a former intern, but Amanda and Jasper paid no attention to it. The important thing was that they loved each other and were together.